I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're working on the Gourd Circle Christmas ornaments, and we're going to be doing different videos on showing you different ones, but we're starting out with the basics to show you what we're starting with. And we're going to take our circular saw and cut our pieces out of our gourd and then sand them down nice and flat on the back as well as we can. And what we decided to do, since a lot of you have a harder time making these, we've also done kits for you that are going to be available on my site. We're going to have a blue kit, and then we're also going to have a black kit for you as well. And what I used was leather pieces, leather strip, and leather backing, just so you can have a nice, crisp, clean ornament. And I'll explain the different materials as we're doing it as well, so if you have them at home that you can use your own. So let's get started. This is our Poinsettia Twice Melted Christmas ornament, and this is on a 3-inch circle of gourd piece. So this one we have a little bit more room to work on, and gives us just a little bit more. I'm going to be using my Miriam Joy wax tool as well as some Miriam Joy stipple brushes and real coarse rake brushes. If this is your first time seeing the Miriam Joy process, jump over to miriamjoy.com. There's a YouTube link that you can jump on, and the first YouTube will show you all how to do the wax process and the different tools in the melting pot that we use. So let's start by putting our background on first, and I'm going to take my 3-inch piece, and I am using a heat gun. I have it on a plant hanger. You can use a tool hanger of any kind, but we're warming this up just so that the wax goes on smoother. And I already had my brush sitting in my crayon warming up, and this is actually a little bit different. This is a blue glitter that we're using here. I'm not quite sure just which one it is, but it's gorgeous, and you already have that glitter in it. So the glitter and the metallic colors are really great, and see how well that covered. And then I'm going to take my rake brush, and just on my second layer of my melting pot, I'm going to pick up some metallic silver, and we're just going to lightly skein across the top of this to give this some silver here. And we're going to come in here and we're going to move our silver around a little bit with our tool. Let me grab one here. Got a couple melting, and we have to have it warm. So let's get this all nice and warm. We're going to start on the outside first. Takes the longest to melt. And then once it starts melting, we're going to move closer to the inside. And then we're going to warm up our tool as well. We have to keep our tool warm because it's metal, and if we hit the crayon with the metal, the more it doesn't want to spread. The closer it is, the more it's going to move around, so that's why I'm kind of lifting it. Now I've got it kind of in a melted state, and it wasn't quite melted enough because it's separated there. And we're just going to pull that down just a tad. We don't want too much, just a little bit. And it's just breaking up those lines and giving us a nice background. So we're going to cool this off just for 1 second here, and I'm setting it in front of a fan just to get that process done. And I'm going to go to my zero brush here on the large end, and we're going to use red to put on our poinsettia. And you have to cool that off, otherwise if it's still warm, you got to put on more wax. It's just going to make a big clump. And I'm going to put on some leaves here, and excuse me, I did this one a little bit different than I'm used to normally seeing myself do them. We were doing solid leaves here instead of outlines, and that's something I really have not worked with you very much. So I'm going to make this solid, and what we'll do is one on each side, and then just kind of bring the wax together. And while it's warm, it has a tendency to run together nicer, because if it's not warm, it's just going to kind of make a mess. Now, on the first two, you can kind of see I picked up the blue a little bit. So what I'm doing is not pushing my tool down at all, or leaving it a little bit higher. And that helps from picking up that bottom layer. I probably could cool my tool off a little bit better, and it would probably help as well. So I'm going to go to a different color. This is actually my red in the glitter, so that you can see the difference between the layers here. If you want to do the poinsettia as just an outline, that is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. If you need help, I do have Christmas patterns available on my website at miriamjoy.com. They're smaller patterns, they're ornament size there as well too. Now this one I'm going to do 2 leaves because we don't want it to be even. You always want to be a little bit odd. Flowers are never even. That's why I started out with 5 petals. Okay, so we've got that on there. I'm going to come back in with my 0 tool on my small end. I'm going to pull some veins, and I'm meant to do the opposite colors here. I'm going to put red on the other color and glitter on my red. Alright, now let's switch. And you can do more than one in here. You can give them a couple of veins. Whatever you want there is just fine. Alright, now let's put our leaves on. And I'm going to put 3 on. And remember to keep them in the odd number. And I'm using green. And we're going to come back in. We're going to add some veins with our yellow green. Okay, now let's go ahead and fill up our center. This is dandelion yellow. And then I'm also going to come around the edges and do some yellow dots. And this is going to brighten it up and just make it pop. And give it that Christmas sparkle feeling as well. Okay, let's go ahead and let this dry. We're going to come back and finish them up. Now that our wax is cool, we're going to take our hobby knife and we're going to take off any wax on the sides. Remove all of that. Now it's going to be stained, so you're still going to be some color, so don't worry about that. We just want the wax off. Hopefully if you did it right, you shouldn't have a bunch of wax on there. Remember, if you don't like what you have and you melted it, just wipe it off and start all over. We're going to apply our Dimensional Magic. You can use a 3D lacquer on this, but I like the Modge Podge Dimensional Magic. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit more durable over time. I like the 3D lacquer more for the Christmas bulbs. I think it's a little bit thinner. The first thing I want to do that most of you might not know is kind of a trick that I have used for a long time. I take my brush and I wet it. and then I dry it out. There's a couple reasons that we do that. Now it's more pliable. It's not hard and stiff, but not only that is the Modge Podge doesn't have to absorb all the way in now, and it just works better. So I do that with a lot of things when I'm doing certain things. So it may be something to help you remember. Now, Modge Podge is made to go on jewelry and be nice and thick, and our gourds are always uneven, so we've got to apply it on with a brush, not just put it on and leave it. So the first thing I do is go around the edges, and I take my brush and I throw it at you, and we're going to get it up against the edges. Now you're not really pushing down, you're just spreading with your brush. Doing that nice and even all the way around. And wipe off anything that gets onto the edges. You want to keep those nice and clear. And then we're going to come back and we're going to pour more of that. Now if we did it like you normally would and just fill it in, it would run off. I think I need just a tad bit more. So what we're actually doing with our brush, and you want a brush that is not coarse, you're just kind of moving it around and applying it more evenly to the piece. You shouldn't be able to see your brush strokes. If you can see your brush strokes, you don't have it on thick enough, and you do not want to over apply it. Once you put it on, you should just be able to see them kind of settle down. And I'd like to do 2 to 3 coats, and I'm going to set it on my dry board to dry. We do have dry boards in stock now. Clean off my Dimensional Magic and put that away. Once your Dimensional Magic is dry, you're going to see this really beautiful shine. See how it go from dull to shine? It just really brings out the color and just really does so much for it. And the Dimensional Magic is really great to work with, and we do sell that on our website. So now that we've done our Dimensional Magic, we're going to come in here and we're going to paint our edges with black acrylic paint. Black is a great background color. It helps take things backwards that you don't want to show and sets the front forward. And I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to do the edges because I'm going to put my leather piece on. Now, if you don't have a leather piece, you can just paint this black. That's okay. Whatever you want to do. And the other thing I do is once you've got that black on there, just come back in and with a damp paper towel, we're going to remove the black just along the edges where it doesn't belong. If you got any up there, like I always do. Okay, so we're going to let that dry. And once that's dry, keep your fingerprints and everything off of this and your glue. That's kind of fun. We're going to decide. I'm going to come back in and get that all off in a minute here. Which way to hang this. And I'm going to kind of hang it like that because it almost looks like a Christmas tree right there. So I'm going to put my leather piece around my gourd first, and I'm using my big bottle of tacky glue that my husband got for me. I need to get my little teeny tiny ones that we have for sale on our website. I don't know where mine is right now, but they're little tiny handy sizes and they're really, really nice. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and put our leather strip on. Now, you want to put that on nice and tight all the way around. And then we're going to bring it up to the top. And I don't want those overlapping, but I do want them right where I'm going to push my hole. And you want the front of this just even with your gourd piece. You don't want it set back. Now your gourd isn't even, so you want this towards the front, not towards the back. So it's all nice and even on the front. And I'm going to take my little scissors here, and I'm going to cut this right where they touch. You don't want to leave a hole there. Alright, and then I'm going to take my bead reamer and I'm going to go right in the middle of there. And the bead reamer is another item that we started carrying at Miriam Joy because I've been working with it so much. And I'm going to take my screw eye, smallest one I could find, and I'm going to add just a tad of tacky glue to it. Now the reason that we put the leather strap on first, the leather strip, instead of last, is it gives us a little bit more stability for our screw eye here. Gives it more to hold on to. Screw that in. Now when I poked my hole, I only poked it just so I could get it started, only about halfway down. We don't want it to go too far. And when you're tightening it, you don't want to strip it. You want to go to a certain place and kind of stop. And you guys, if you've seen the jewelry ones, I will also put the sequin pins in place right there to hold that leather piece in place. Now again, I'm going to come in here and clean up the mess I've made. And you can let it dry in between too. You don't have to do it like I did, because I'm just trying to get you all the way down here. But not really pretty. Just can't believe that they're crayons. That's so much fun. Alright, now we're going to take our cording or whatever you want to hang it on, and we're going to go through our screw eye, and we're going to do one knot up here. And you can add bows to these. I have some little holly that I might want to put on my holly one. Little bows, whatever you wanted to do to make it nice and fun would be really, really pretty as well. So that's how we kind of finish them off. Now let's go back and let's get our back piece on if you want it. Now, one of the nice things is this is kind of fuzzy, and I like this, and I think it looks really nice, and I think it would feel good for jewelry, but it gets a little bit dirty faster. And also, if you did it where the other part, you can write on it. And I wrote on one of them, and I put like Merry Christmas, Miriam Joy 2013. So that's something you might want to think about too, which side of the leather piece that you may want to use. And I really like the leather instead of material because it is a little bit stretchy. So if I'm shorter on one area, I can pull it out and put it in. And to get the circle, I just take it on my leather and I take my white charcoal pencil and just trace around my piece and then cut on the white inside. If any of it sticks out, just take your little scissors and trim it off. But then you have a very professional looking piece, very nice piece that you can give to other people for Christmas, and that looks very professionally done. Now see how the glue got into the fuzzy side, and that's what I was talking about. But we do have the kits available for you. We do have the 3-inch and the 2.5 inch and the blue and the black, just to make it simple for you this holiday season. And that is how we do our twice melted circular Christmas ornaments. If you have any questions about these at all, please email me at art@miriamjoy.com. Jump over and just see all the wonderful YouTube videos we're doing for you this holiday season. Merry Christmas and God bless.